Welcome to I Got the Smokes Let's Ride podcast experience with me, BTCG, episode number 3. That's right. We got 3 weeks down right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a moment with me. If you are on your ride home, I hope you had a great week. I hope your ride is going to be easy. It's going to be nice. Hope your bladder's empty, your soda's full, and you're ready to ride. 10 and 2, seatbelt on, buckle up for safety, check both mirrors and your rearview mirror adjusted and everything else so that you can get home safely. We're going to be talking for about an hour, at least I will. You'll be listening, at least I hope. But if you get home before the show is over, you surely have my okie dokie to get out there and get inside that house, because that is where the living starts, is with those people that love you and that you love. So don't hang out with me. You take off in there. This is just a way for you to maybe have a better ride home. If you're watching this and you're not riding home, you can check out what's going on the screen. But if you are driving, 10 and 2, 9 and 3, depending on how old you are on them steering wheels, but don't pay attention to this camera, phone, whatever you're on, screen, because you need to be safe, because we need you, and we need you to be driving well. Hopefully you minimize the road rage. Hopefully you had a good time watching the last podcast where we talked about Bob the Duck. That was a hilarious video. Hilarious story. I hope you liked it. I hope you laughed. I hope you had a blast, because I sure did enjoy. I actually told that story 3-4 more times just at work with anybody who could listen, because I just love telling that story. Today we will be smoking a cigar. That's exactly right. We will be smoking a cigar, if not two. But I got a big old boy right here. This is a 7x50 Churchill box press deliciousness, the Sin Compromiso Paladin de Saca. Now, it's already been lit. The cedar is already off. Why? Because I just got done doing a Saca video. I did my Sunday Saca, which will be on 2 days from now. So you could see the beginning of this cigar if you're not driving. Why did I do that? Well, it's not that I'm out of cigars. I have cigars. It's that I'm short on time, and so in doing reviews, I like to give myself time between to make sure my palate is fresh. But in doing the Saca video, which is more of me getting a chance to just talk and chatter with you, kind of like this, but in a much shorter content style, I'm not worried about the flavors as much, expressing them to you, as I am of whatever the content is. And so with this, I got done shooting that video. I'm knocking this video out. The plant is back up and running. We are at the car mill, board out and wide open. And so I have to capitalize on what little time I have to do reviews. So I knocked out a Drewsday review. I waited a little while, and then I did the Saca. And now I'm doing my time with you, which I saved the best for last, because you are phenomenal. Now, if you watch Drewsday, thank you very much. And if you watch the Saca video coming Sunday, thank you very much. You're the best in those as well. I'm just saying, don't tell anybody else, but that's the facts between me and you. So, this 7x50 Churchill box press, Sin Compromiso Paladin de Saca. Wrapper is Mexican San Andres Negro. Love me some Mexican San Andres. Binders Ecuadorian Habano. Filler is Nicaragua and USA. Delicious leathers, unctuousness, a little bit of turned earth, a little bit of minerality, a little bit of espresso notes. I mean, this thing just, it hits in all those lanes. Now, if you're looking for something creamy toasty, if you're looking for an infusion of flavors, if you're looking for black cherry and walnut, you probably aren't going to get it in this cigar. If you do, you might want to check on the gum that you're chewing, because that's probably the flavor that's infusing into your cigar. Now, I said with some gusto. I said with some verve, V-E-R-V-E, some excitedness about that Mexican San Andres Negro wrapper. I love Mexican San Andres wrapper, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Before Mexican San Andres wrapper really hit really hard, and everybody was really starting to put it on their wrappers, there was another tobacco that was my gateway to Mexican San Andres, and that is African Cameroon. Cameroon wrapper is a lot lighter. The flavors are not like Mexican San Andres, but they both have one thing in common. And what is that? What is that? Yes, you're right. Toothiness. What is toothiness? Well, when you light up a cigar and you're smoking it and you're looking at your ash, you see these little dots and deets. And when you're looking at your cigar of the area where it has not been lit yet, not been burned up yet, not turned to ash yet, not been digested delightfully and deliciously, you see these little bumps. Those bumps don't come on all tobaccos. It comes on Cameroon, comes on Mexican San Andreas, and I think it comes on some others which don't get used much. And those toothiness, it's little blastules of oil, which is where your flavor comes from in your tobacco. Your oil gives you your flavor, and that's one of the reasons why if you have a cigar that you found in the attic that your grandpa had, and it's been sitting up in an unhumidified box for 50 years, you pull it down and you humidify it, and you spend the month it takes to get the humidity to slowly creep back in, and the cigar feels like any other cigar that's ready to smoke, and you light it up and it tastes like Taco Bell cardboard wrapper, just not so hot. It's because the oils have evaporated. Your oils are your flavors, and so on a Mexican San Andreas and a Cameroon wrapper, you have these little blastules of flavor, these little bursting pearls of just deliciousness. Now, I'm not going to call them zits because that's bad to say, but I'm not going to call them zits. But Mexican San Andreas takes that farther than Cameroon, because a Mexican San Andreas wrapper has many different many different levels of toothiness. Some tobacco, some plants of the Mexican San Andreas variety have a lot of toothiness, and some have less, and they're graded that way. Now, that doesn't mean that a grade A or a grade 1 is worse than a grade 4 or a grade 5, because they all have their balance to the master blender. That's like saying if you've got 5 different hot sauces, you got Cholula, right? That really ain't hot sauce, it's just kind of tomato sauce. And then you have a jalapeno, and then you have a habanero, and then you have a scorpion and a Jute Baloca, and then you have a Reaper X, right? And say, well, they're all peppers. One's good, the rest aren't. That's not true. They all have different intensities. And so when the master blender is mixing up his blend for the cigar, he says, you know what? I want to have a soloist as the Mexican San Andreas. I want that to be the strong flavor. Or I want to be in the background. I just want it to fill in the notes between, right? It just needs a little something. Let's throw a little bit of that less toothy MSA in there. Okay. Mexican San Andreas usually is known for their black pepper, their minerality, their turned earth, their grittiness, their aggression. Sometimes you can lean into a little bit of burnt espresso, dark coffee. Not always. But that would be more of that Mexican San Andreas quality that people look for. When I'm wanting to make chili, I'm not looking for hazelnut because it doesn't fit. I want something that's got a little spice to it, a little bit of smokiness to it, right? Some of that smoked paprika. I'll put something like that in the chili. And some, a little bit of hot sauce and a little bit of, okay, I'll cheat, Taco Mix. I'll throw that in there. Carol Shelby's chili mix. Yeah, I don't mix my own chili spices. I had a little bit. First Lady does better than I do, but I like me some chili. A little bit of sour cream. And yes, chili is not chili unless it has beans, and I don't care what you say. Y'all can say that con carne thing or that chili whatever, but if you got chili, you got beans, and you got some Ritz crackers crunched up in there, and you got some shredded cheese if you could afford it, and you got a little bit of sour cream. I'm hungry now. Dago. I wasn't hungry till I started this video, but I'm hungry now. So, The funny thing about blending, though, now let me stop. I am not a cigar blender. I'm not. I'm not a cigar roller. I'm hardly a cigar reviewer. I'm more of a cigar smoker. But I've had the opportunity, the exposure, and the ability to sit down with some amazing master blenders and just listen and ask questions when the opportunity arose and do some research and dive in and really, really look at it. And one of the things that impressed me a lot was the thought that if you get 5 master blenders, 5, and you give them the same amount of weight of tobacco, same identical amount of tobacco, same variety, same priming, same everything, and they roll the same cigar, same vitola, same size and diameter and size and length, cap, everything. I mean, if it is exactly the same, all 5 of those cigars have a real good chance of tasting different just by the way you position your tobacco. Really? I was like, wait a minute now. So you're telling me that you swap out the binder, you swap out the wrapper? They say, no. In the blend, in your bunch, if you put different tobaccos side by side in different ways, they're going to give you different expressions of that tobacco. And it blows my mind. I can't figure it out. I've tried dreaming about it, thinking about it, trying to write it out, use a Venn diagram, and all that other stuff. And I can't get it. But I do know that the people telling me that knew what they were talking about. And then, just to be sure, a couple other times, I actually asked Master Blender, I said, hey, I heard this. Tell me, what's your opinion on it? And they agreed. And then I started thinking about it. I started talking about some companies. Davidoff. When you smoke a Davidoff cigar, usually their core line, you're going to have a smooth, blended, limited transition, no gaps in flavor type of cigar. It's all going to be one note. It's not going to be one note. All the notes will come together to make one flavor. You get into Camacho. And Camacho, their flavors are going to be chopped up. It's more like a fruit salad. You're going to pick this note and that note and this note and that note and this note and that note, and it's going to be more aggression. It's going to be more robust, and it's going to transition more. The flavors are going to change as you're smoking back through the cigar. And then you get into Saka. I'm smoking a Saka stick right now. You're going to get a combination of both. The flavors, they hang together, but the transitions are there. You can usually pull out a single or other note. But if you smoke enough cigars, if you spend, and I highly recommend you do, if you spend a lot of time, and let's say you smoke through, I'll stick with Dumbarton because I'm smoking Dumbarton right now. You go through and you go on a 6-month phase of basically smoking just Dumbarton cigars. I don't care if it's the Moisture de Saka line. I don't care if it's the Unicorn line. You better than me if you can smoke 6 months of Unicorn line. The Silver Mesa line, the Sin Compromiso line, the Mi Querida line, the Polpettas, anything else out there, right? The Golden Child, the Red Meat Lovers. You smoke all of that back to back to back to back to back to back to back, and that's just what you're smoking. They all taste different. I'm not saying a Red Meat Lovers tastes anything like a Polpetta, because it doesn't. But you kind of find the blender's signature. You kind of find the master blender's signatures. Then after 6 months, you pick up a Davidoff or Durastate or J.C. Newman or Plasencia or Almafuerte. No, Almafuerte is Plasencia. You pick up anything. You name it. You name whatever it is. And you smoke that for 6 months. And then you do this for a couple years, and you've got 4 or 5 manufacturers under your belt. And then you lay some cigars in front of you and you blind taste them. You may not know what that cigar is, but I truly believe that you'd be able to pick up that cigar and say, I'm not sure exactly what this is, but I know it came from this company. Because each blender has a signature. So, when somebody says, I like this over that, or somebody's a fanboy over this, fangirl, over this or that, it's because that blender's hit them in their spot. And if it doesn't work for you, that's just because the blender is not your thing, right? If you don't like Chinese food, no matter what Chinese restaurant you go to, you're not going to like it. If you don't like Italian food, who could not like Italian food? You're never gonna like, spaghetti bolognese, right? It's the facts. That doesn't make it bad. It just makes it not for you. That's okay, because I'm telling you, when you smoke a cigar, that is you. What you bring to the smoking experience, your time, your expectations, your palate, your genetics, what you've exposed your palate to, how you're feeling that day, and then what the cigar brings to it. Its construction, its quality, its blend, its burn, its vitola, its band, its box, all that stuff. So it's it's a date between you and that cigar. Now, I'm not saying that if you go out on a date, you should set your date on fire. That's against the law in all 50 countries and all states in the whole world, so don't do that. But with a cigar, that's different. You can do that. I highly recommend you do that. It's an interesting tangent I went off on. Had a good... It's Saturday. This morning at noon, we had our first ever inaugural Second Saturdays with the First Lady giveaway, or live giveaway. It was a January edition. It was the first one. Sarah was its First Lady. She was very methodical. We talked about it a little bit. We've talked about it a while. We talked about it last night, and I said you kind of need to have a layout of what you want to do, because Chief and I have that, and we talked about it, and we just have a couple notes here and there. Sarah sat up last night, probably 3-4 hours, and she wrote out basically a business plan and a script for the next 6 months, detailed segments, all this other stuff. And she handed it to me this morning when I was drinking coffee before I was going to go out and start setting up for the live. She presented it to me, and I'm like, God, dog, girl, you doing better than we are. Had a great show. It's an hour and 15 minutes long, ran a little long, but it didn't notice. People were wanting to stay on longer. Really, really good show. Really, really great content. Sarah, the First Lady, does not smoke cigars, but she is part of the cigar culture, and she brings a different light to it. And she actually has intentionality about the things she's going to talk about. Next week, next Saturday, she's going to, which is tomorrow for you, she's going to talk about etiquette of the lounge. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be interesting. I'm not on the video. I'm actually doing what Chief does for Chief Talk. I am being the producer, and I sit on the computer and I try to monitor, and I do. I have a microphone. I do some color commentation, but I'm not on the show. We had 38 concurrent viewers during the show. That means at one time, and it was most of the time, we had a ton of people on. We had 38 people on watching at the same exact time. We had over 108 views during the show. We had over 36 hours of watch time, which means people cumulatively, out of those 108 people, the amount of time that was watched by all those people was 36 hours, which was freaking ridiculous. I was like, go ahead, girl. Crazy numbers. Now, we had a giveaway. And another reason why I'm smoking a Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust is because we had a Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust giveaway. I started off with the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust stuff because the First Lady likes a few cigar aromas, the smoke. Some of them she can't stand. Most of them, if I'm honest, she can't stand. But the Stillwell Star Aromatic Number 1 is one of her favorites, and so I was able to smoke that because I'm about the cigar guy. I want to smoke while I'm doing it, right? And so I fired that up in the room, and that was really nice. And that was one of the cigars we gave away. We gave away 12 cigars. Whole Stillwell core line, 3 different Mickey Ritas, 2 different Silver Mesas, a Muestra de Saca, a Bronzeback, Sin Compromiso. I think that's 12. Gave away a ton. It's over there, but I'm not going to grab it. But we didn't just stop there because we do big giveaways. I want to make sure the First Lady has great giveaways. By the way, I'm sorry, let me back up. We gave away 12 cigars. And as long as I got them, and I got them, we're going to give away 12 cigars per episode every month. 12 cigars. Now let's face it, right now cigars are $10 to $15 a piece, so that's 120 to 180 easy right there for the giveaway. We don't give away junk, we give away a lot. So not only did we give away cigars, we gave away a pink Sucker Squatch beanie, one of the new Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust ball caps, and then we gave away one of the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust stone ashtrays. You heard it. Gave all that away. Plus, I accidentally left one of my Paleo new in the box Chief and Bob Cigar Guy branded lighters, and she snatched that up and she goes, well, it's on the table, so it counts. And so that got thrown in as well. We had a ton of people put in for it, but the deal is you have to be watching to win. If you're not watching and if you're not engaged in the video, you don't get a chance to win. You get your name put in the hat and you get drawn out. And a gentleman won an amazing gift prize. He actually was camping next to a lake or next to a river in like a foot of snow, 2 feet of snow, and he said he was jumping around, dancing and singing when he won. But he was present when he put his name in, and he was present when the drawing was done. So we would just have something else next Sunday. So it won't be this. I told you it'll be next week. It's not next week. It will be the second Saturday in February. What? You're going to want to mark your calendars. You're going to want to be there because next week, or next month, I keep saying next week. Next month, we will be giving away from another manufacturer, and it will be a banger. It will be parallel, if not bigger, than the Dunbarton giveaway. Now, are we sponsored? Not for that product. I'd love to be sponsored. I would love to have a sponsor come alongside us and help us with giveaways and maybe put some money back in the channel. That'd be great, but it was our first one. I didn't know how it was going to be received because First Lady doesn't smoke cigars, but anybody who knows the First Lady loves the First Lady. She's just awesome like that. And she has a way of talking about the culture with cigar smokers and also the people that love cigar smokers that hang out with cigar smokers. And so lounge etiquette is going to be very interesting from her perspective already. If you have suggestions for lounge etiquette, things that just chap your hide and frustrate you, the do's and don'ts, you can hit me up on my email or message me. My email is rgfinley70@gmail.com. You can reach out to me and I'll make sure I get it over to her because she's asking for anybody's input. But it's a neat show. It's a good show. And hopefully it will keep growing. Hopefully you'll watch and you'll love it. And we will maybe find sponsors. because I would love to continue this ad nauseum for years and years and years. I love to add this on to the Bob the Cigar Guy channel universe because Chief has a different perspective. Chief has a different way of going at things, and Chief's live is not my live. It's his thing. It's what he does, and I bring a different perspective in reviewing cigars and stuff like that. And then now the First Lady is coming alongside, and we're reaching the people that hang out with the people that smoke cigars. And I think that's great because we do barn smokers every year. We do. And you would be surprised to see how many people go that don't smoke cigars. A decent percentage. I'm not saying 50 or 40 or 30 even. Probably 15, 20%. But they're just sitting here hanging out with the people that they love. And, of course, their sweetie who does smoke cigars buys them a ticket because they know they're not going to smoke their cigars and they get double cigars. That's not dumb. That ain't dumb at all. And this year, hopefully, the First Lady will be at Barn Smokers again. And so you may build a connection with her, and you'll want to see her personally and give her a hug and get a picture took with her because she's awesome. She's lovely. She's mine. Mind your business. So, awkward pause. Let's have an awkward pause. There it is. So, I just got done doing the video with Saka, and I'm not going to go into it in depth because it was kind of weird. Where I started looking at, it's the first of the year, right? Everybody's in the gym, supposedly. New Year's resolutions, supposedly. And they're looking for motivational quotes. They're coming up everywhere. Everybody's got a motivational quote. So I thought I would read some motivational quotes. Little did I know that there's about a bagillion motivational quotes. And everybody had something to say. And so it kind of got a little funky, to be honest. But I think I finished off well, talking about how it applies to life, in your life. And, you know, your life is quotable as it is. You don't need to watch everybody else's quotes. You can make your own. So I'd love for you to watch that video Sunday when it comes out because I need the views. And I think it may make a difference in somebody else's life. I hope it does. I hope our content does that. I hope it makes a difference in your life too. But speaking of that, if you would tell people about this podcast, share this podcast, post up this podcast, let people jump on here, let people get a hold of it, let people, maybe they'll find something that fits with them. Now, here's the caveat. Say, hey, y'all check this guy out. Now, he's not always good. He's a little on the weird side, and he's country. That way, if I do something off color, or not off, I won't do anything off color, but if I do something that's kind of weird, they won't say, well, you suggested it. Well, I told you he's crazy, but sometimes he's funny. He tells things like the duck story. Fantabulous story. Fantabulous story. So, awkward pause. It's snowing here in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. Turned from snow to ice. Closed the plant down early yesterday. It's Saturday today. Friday they closed the plant down early, went home. Kids are playing in the snow. Caitlin's over with Macy and Caden. And we found a sled. And they're playing in sleds. And the First Lady goes, well, let's go find somewhere else to go. And I'm sitting there going, there's ice on the road. And of course, First Lady says, let's go live life. La vida loca. And I said, okay. Because saying no just means she get in there and drive herself. At least I'm driving her. So at least I know she's safe or whatever. So we went to Ace Hardware. And Grammy did what Grammy did and got some sleds. And we went to a little sledding hill. We found a place. That was a decent hill the kids could slide down. And Gracie slid down. And the First Lady slid down. And I ain't sliding down because, number one, I'm old and grumpy. And I got to work Monday. And if I slide and bust my knee, That won't be good. And getting up and getting down in snow off the ground does not look good to me. I look like a turtle that can't find his way, or a cockroach that's flipped on its back, and I don't want to look like that. So I just took pictures. Now Gracie had an eventful time, and that just concreted why I didn't need to do it, because she had a great time, but it was funny. But I might have a little bit of PTSD, not really, from sledding. Here comes the story. This is a little bit later than the duck story, but not by much, because we were at the church we're at. We're youth ministers at the church that we were at back then. And up in North Carolina. And they wanted to take a youth trip to go tubing. Snow tubing. Oh, that sounds fun. And so we decided to go with the group and take the kids. A couple adults went, 4 or 5 adults went. And it's snow. Now, I'm a Florida boy, and so I know snow a little bit. But when snow gets deep and stays deep and gets packed down, it gets slick like glass. And I was skating all over the place, right? Really having a hard time. But, you know, I'm Bob. I got to be Bob, and so I'm going to go tubing down these lanes, and the lanes have little bumps of snow on the sides, like you see in pictures and videos, and it is 100 yards, probably a 20-30 degree angle. That joke was steep. And one of the reasons we picked this place is because it was right off the main road, big 4-lane road. And so you didn't have to go up in the mountains and drive up in the mountains. You just got off this main road and you pulled right in the parking lot. And you went and you got on the tube and you tubed around. And you got off and drank hot chocolate. And then you got back in the vehicle and you went home, which I wanted to do because I didn't want to drive in the ice with the kids. Them big church fans. So we picked that place, and I noticed that at the end of the run was a stack of hay bales. I mean, it was probably 5 bales deep, 5, 6 bales high. I mean, it was a barricade. It was a good 5-foot, 4-foot tall barricade. And then there was about another 20, 30 feet, well, it was probably about another 40, 50 feet of grass and then and snow. And then there was the road, right? And so you go sledding down and you'd slide into I watched it. You gently slide down and you'd slide into the bank and the hay bales, and it'd rock you back, and then you'd get up and you kind of work your way behind the bales so that you didn't get run over by the next people. That's what you're supposed to do. You just kind of duck. You go between the little alleys around the bales, and you carry around, and you get on this little rope thing that snatches you back up the hill, and then you get up top and you do it again. And I'm like, all right, this is fun. This looks like fun. There's little kids, little bitty kids, little 2-year-old kids walking around. They waddle because they're all bundled up. And the moms are going down with them, dads are going down with them, and I'm like, well, if the kids are doing it, it's not that big of a deal. The little kids are up there doing it. And by this time, the youth are up top, and they're coming down. Mr. Bob, Mr. Bob, Mr. Bob. And I'm looking at them, waving at them. Yeah, good job, good job, good job. And come on, you got to go, you got to go. Yeah, I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to go. Because I was that guy. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. And so I'm watching it, but what I'm doing is I'm evaluating to decide if it's something I want to do. It looked easy enough. People are sliding down. No problems. Not that fast. I thought it'd be faster, but it's not that fast. And then some people would slow down by dragging their feet behind them, which chopped up the ice, which I didn't know that, but and it slowed them down even more. And even the ones that got out of control on purpose, the teenage boys, they'd spin around in circles, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm like, man, that's not that bad. I could even do some little spinny around things. And they're just inner tubes. I've done tubing on the lakes and ponds and rivers. So that's not a big deal. I know how to do that. So you sit in these big old inner tube tires and you go down, and I'm not going to go down Superman style, but I'll go down sit down style. Mistake. And then you just keep on going. And everything's fine. Mistake. what I failed to understand is I got my tube, and I've already committed. And everybody says, "You're going?" "Yeah, I'm going." "Yeah, yeah, yeah, Mr. Bob's going, Mr. Bob's going." Everybody's cheering and hollering, right? It becomes this thing. So it starts pulling me up. And then it dawns on me, I start noticing, and there's nobody, how can I say this politely? There's nobody with as much mass as I have going down these rides. It dawns on me that I may be going a little quicker. But you know what, I'm Bob. I've already committed. I can't back down. I got to do it. I said, okay. I'll go down Superman style, face first, laying down on the tube, so that I can drag my feet and I can kick my hands and I can see what's coming and I got a little control, because once you get your butt up in that tube, you're done. Right? It goes where it goes. So I get up there and all these kids are like, "Mr. Bob, watch me," and they'll go running 15 feet and jump in the air and land and slide down and all this other stuff. "Come on, Mr. Bob, you do it." No, I ain't doing all that. So I get down on the tube, lay down, kind of inch up to it with my toes, push off, slide down. Whee! And it's all right. And people are cheering for me, but there's not that wow factor going on. I just look like everybody else going down, and I can't just look like everybody else because I'm Bob, right? Stupid Bob. And so I start going down, and I start third or fourth run. I start picking up some speed, doing a little bit of half spins, turning around and getting real comfortable. Big mistake with it. And then I get up there and I decide I'm going to take and make a fast run, right? Because the boys are egging me on, and some of the grown-up men are now egging me on, and they're doing it too, and I can't be outdone. I'm Bob, right? Humility should have been in place of pride and ego. Would have been much better. So, remember when I told you that the people are supposed to go behind, once you get off your floaty, your inner tube, there's like 6 runs, about 10 feet apart, 10 feet wide, right? So it's 60 feet. If you're on the first run, on the far side, you're supposed to go behind the things you walk, and then you're not getting possibly run into. Can you see where I'm going with this? By the other 5 lanes. But even back before they had the name Karen, they had Karens. They had people who felt that they were just able to do whatever they wanted to do, and the rules did not apply. And you should not impede them from doing what nobody else does. Well, remember when I told you that there was cute little kids that couldn't bend their knees because they were so full of those overstuffed plush jackets, and their moms were walking with them and their dads were walking with them, and these kids were hanging around? Well, this has been going on for a little while, and rules were getting lackadaisical, and this lady was letting her kid walk all over the place because she's so cute falling down. Look how cute he is. He's just so cute. Such a cute little baby. A target, sadly. So I get up, and I'm on line 2 because I figured it out. Line 3, 4, and 5 were in the middle. 2, 3, 4, and 5 were in the middle of the run. So if I accidentally went up over the berm into the next lane, I'm not actually off the run. Smart, right? 3 and 4 would be best because I had 2 lanes on each side. But lane 2 was only 1 lane from getting back on the ride, which means I didn't have to slip and slide as much. And so I said, 2 is my spot. So I hit lane 2. Lane 2 was running smooth. It was not a fast lane, I thought. And so I decided that time that I was feeling my oats, and everybody was cheering me on. I was having a good old time, and I was at the top of the hill, and people were supposed to get out of the way. I decided to take a couple step run. Well, big mistake. I was wearing my work boots, slick. So I backed up a little bit, and I took a couple step run, and the first couple 2 steps of that run was in traction because everybody had run there, and so it was grassy dirt, and so you had traction. But I hit them last two steps before I hit the run. Tube in the air, holding up my chest, ready to dive down on it. And I lost traction, and I slipped, and as I fell forward, at the top of this 25, 30-degree hill of ice, I landed on my tube a little low on my stomach, which hit my belly, which made me push up, which made the tube come under my chest and my chin, which means I didn't have near as much control as I would have had if it would have been in the core center of my mass. Not a big problem. Slide down, drag my feet, and stop and get up, and next time I'll do it better. Do no more running, Bob. Don't do no more running. That's stupid. Here's the problem. As I was going down the hill, trying to slow down, I dug my foot in to slow down, and I did dig the other foot in, and it caught, and it spun me. And so now I'm going down sideways, fast, unbalanced. And I'm trying to right myself to go straight, because I know if I keep going sideways, I'm going to end up backwards, and I'm going to hurt myself, and I don't want to hurt myself because I have work. And so I'm trying to kick my leg around but not drag my feet and all this and that. And I start to halfway right myself. I tell him I'm halfway down. And then I notice that $6 million man bionic eye. I can track, just like Bob the Duck, this little fluffy child that can't bend, with the mom walking right in my lane as I am hurtling down out of control. Do you see where this is going? So I start waving my arms like I'm swimming and yelling at the lady, "Move, move, move, move." And she is kind of halfway oblivious. And by the time she looks up and she sees this huge country mass coming down, probably 50 feet left at a very high velocity, she slowly starts to go to her child, which is now 5 or 6 steps ahead of her, and she just was not close enough. I see myself going to kick this child because that's where my legs are. And so I dig in both feet to try to stop and spin myself. But when I did, I overcorrected myself and spun over 360 degrees around, going down. Now, I don't know where the little bitty girl was sitting on my shoulder, but I heard her come out of my voice because I knew what was coming. The youth minister jettisons a child. No, this is not good. And I'm trying everything I can. And as I spin around, my arm is still out. I catch the child at the ankles, and that child spins no less than 2 times in the air before they slam on the ground as I careen into the hay bales. I try to get up to say I'm sorry and pick up the child with the mom. She is mad as all get out. The dad is not happy. And I'm kind of frustrated because it's not my fault. You shouldn't have been there in the first place, lady. And I can't walk. I'm skidding all over the place. Right? And it's not a good look for me. And she fusses at me, and I apologize vehemently. And here's where it gets really bad. I should have stopped. But my boys, the men that were there, we bonded, right? Because I was doing things. We was having a good time. I flipped a kid into a high school kid. The kid's alive, not busted up. So the kid was covered in bubble wrap, basically, from Walmart or wherever. I mean, it was jackets all over the place. So they came sliding down, and they're all, yeah, Mr. Bob, you did it, da-da-da-da. Yeah, Mr. Bob, da-da-da-da. Yeah, Mr. Bob, da-da-da-da. You got to do it again. At that point, I should have said, no, I'm done. I should have blamed it on my knee. Oh man, I hurt my knee. I twisted my knee when I landed. I should have done something, but what I did was I drank the Kool-Aid. Never drink the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid and I said, yeah, let's do it again. Because those people were working their way towards turning in their tubes and going home. So I knew I was not going to hit those children. And the people around me had seen that. So I guarantee that when I got back up there, there was not going to be a line of people that were going to be down there. And so I was going to go down again. I was not going to run because that's where the trouble happened. I was going to just lay down and go. But I knew that we needed to be dead. And I said, all right, last time. This is my last time. And so as we're on there waiting to go on the ride, on the thing down there, all the guys are up there back with me, and they're like, Mr. Bob, it's your last one. You got to do it good. You got to do it big. You got to do it whatever. And I said, all right. I'm going to, because I didn't want to go on they wanted me to Superman dive again. I'm like, I'm doing that again. I said, but I'm going to go down I'm going to sit down and go down that way, and I'm going to spin around. I'm going to do 360s or something like that, 1080, right? Right? I don't know what I'm talking about. But I got to do something. I got to make it better than the last time, and I don't want to traumatize any children or parents. So I said, I'll go down, I'll slide down, I'll spin around. I'll hit the berm. I'll probably go fast, but I'll hit the berm, the pine straw, and everything will be fine, and I'll be a hero, and we'll get up and we'll go. We'll have hot chocolate and we'll go. And First Lady will fuss at me, and I'll be sore tomorrow. Part of the course. But I got to let you in on a little something. I'm not an engineer, but the straw bales have been there for a while. They've been doing this for a month at least, and so unbeknownst to me, really paying attention to it, looking at it in hindsight after it was over, those pine bales, you run into them enough, they start to take the edges off of the pine bales, and the pine bales go from square to angled. And then more people hit them, and then farther up the bales, the next bale, it gets more angled. And if you really look at it with physics, I guess, you can see that it's actually not a barrier as much as a ramp if you can break that gravity. Now, gravity has never been my friend. It works well on me. A lot. And so, if I go fast enough, I'm going to go up into those bales. And if I go fast enough, well, let me not get ahead of myself. So, I got up there. I got hyped up. I got back a little bit, sat down. I had to sit down in the grassy area. See, this is the hard part. You sit down on the edge, you could slip and fall, and then you're going down without a tube, and then you got to do it again because you can't end on a crummy flop, right? So I sat back on there, and I tried to push with my hands, and my hands were freezing cold. I had gloves on, but I just couldn't get any traction. And of course, I looked back to my adult male friends to kind of give me a push. And being my friends, like guy friends are, instead of them giving me a gentle push, they told these high school boys, hey, y'all push Bob. Well, at that point, I can't go, no, because then I'll look like a wimp. I can't do that. I'm a dude, right? I'm a guy, right? I'm a man, right? I'm Bob. I've got to say, yeah, give me a push, going in my head. No, don't push. Trying to figure out how I can get my feet or my heels down to slow the push, but I can't get my feet down. I look like that turtle upside down. And here I go. They shoved me, but not only did they shove me, there was a young man, I think his name's Luke. Love Luke, except for right then, because he's funny. He's athletic. He thought he'd have fun, make it a little better. And he gave a little twist on the push. And so here I go. Down within the first 10 feet, I'm now backwards. And going fast because all my mass is now in the front instead of the back. And my feet can't touch the ground. And I can't hit the brakes. My hands are barely touching snow, and it got silent. It got so quiet. The lights got bright and pretty. There were no noises except for me and the shush of the tube. And everything was in slow motion, and I threw my head back to see what was coming in front of me. And at that point, the bionic eye noticed the angle of the hay bales. Figured out how fast I was going. Figured out how much trouble I was in. Could not turn around. Did notice that everybody had stopped their kids and themselves from walking down between lane 1 and lane 6. Everybody came to a break. Everybody was watching Bob, which I don't mind, except when I'm going down backwards on a sled like an upside down turtle, very, very fast, heading to demise. Did I tell you that there was a road, busy road, very close to the other side of those pine bales, straw bale? Well, you guessed it. Oh, pause. Pause. I got to toast my cigar. My cigar went out. I was talking too much. This was a story. This story was told forever. The story where Bob flew. Not Bob the Duck. Bob. Preacher Bob. I knew I was in trouble. I knew it. Nothing I could do about it. I guess I could have rolled off the tube, but then that's no. So what did I do? I tucked my neck into my chest. I squoze with every part of my body that could squeeze the tube to hang on. And I took the hit. And I hit that thing backwards. Flat out backwards. And it sent me up that ramp. I love being right, but I wish I was wrong then, and then that would have stopped me, but it didn't. It actually propelled me in the air, and I am not exaggerating. There were people walking behind the bales. I cleared over some people walking on the bales. Now, I did not know that at the time because I was backwards and upside down, and I did not see them because my eyes were closed, and that little screaming girl showed up again because I heard it coming out of my voice. And I flipped upside down, landed on my neck, tucked and rolled and stood up like a boss. I'm telling you, I should have had a cape and theme music at that moment. God was shining down on me because I looked like I was a hero, and I was less than 10 feet from the road. And as I came up, I could not see. I had lost focus. My ears were ringing. My jaw was tight, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk. As all that came back to me, I looked up, and everybody up on top of the hill was cheering for all they were worth. And people down the hill was cheering for all they were worth because they thought I meant it. I was still looking for Luke because I was going to give that boy what for because I didn't want to do that. That was so bad. What? I flipped upside down, landed on my neck, spun around, stood up. We got back to the church. And the guys are hanging around and we're talking, and all the kids are going, telling the kids bye. And they're telling the stories on the bus, right? I have now gone 80 miles an hour. I cleared 15 feet of bales, and I shot 30 feet in the air, landed in the middle of the road on top of a car. Perfect 10-point landing, right? It took a life of its own. And the parents are looking at me like, do I leave my children with you? We're only going to let them go when Sarah goes, right? And after it's all over, I'm standing around with the fellers. Sarah's doing her stuff, talking with the ladies and doing this and that. And the fellers are like, how you feel, buddy? I said, man, I hurt so bad. And they laughed. And they said, did you mean to? No, I didn't mean to do that. That dang Luke, And they're laughing and thinking it's a hilarious thing. And they said, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. I said, well, you better took a picture because you ain't never going to see that again. This boy ain't never going tubing on snow tubes, and I haven't since. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't get on that sled. Now, me and Steven and Caitlin, First Lady, got in the car to drive home. Steven and Caitlin fell asleep, and it is dead silent in that car. And I'm just waiting. I am waiting for the First Lady to say something. We get out of the car, we get in the house, we get in the bed. The only thing she says, bless her heart, is, as we got in the bed, lights are out, she goes, did you take some ibuprofen? I said, no. She goes, you might want to get up and get some. I said, I can't. I can't move. Because I got into bed and I was stove up. She was so kind to get up and get me some water and some ibuprofen. And boy, howdy, I hurt for days on that. And, shoot, that's the reason why I didn't go inner tubing, or I didn't go sledding. I stood there and took pictures. So I highly recommend you don't try to duplicate that experience, but I hope you have experiences that when you're at an age where you can't do things, you have stories like that, hopefully safer, to tell. Because the goal is to live a full life and to live a long life. If you live a long life and it's not full, well, you just survived it. That's kind of sad. And if you live a full life and it's not long, that's sad too, because there's probably more that the world could have experienced from you, because you are awesome. Whether there's snow, whether there's water, whether there's sand, whether there's dirt, whether there's rocks, whether there's anything else, you're awesome in all climes and places. You're phenomenal and fantastic, and you make a difference. You do. I hope you laughed. I do now. I didn't then. Leave me some comments. Y'all dropped the ball. I mean, a ton of y'all watched last week. And a couple of y'all gave me some good jobs, which is great. I appreciate them. You know, it's nice because talking to my phone, I don't know if you like what you're getting, but I would love feedback as to, I want to hear more stories, or I don't want to hear more stories, or I like you talking about tobacco, I like you talking about this, or I like you talking about that, or do more goofy things, or do more serious things, or do more whatever, or sing a song. I wouldn't say sing a song because I can't sing, but something. I'd like to have direction. This is new to me. We got to do this. I got to do this another 49 times. I shouldn't say God. I get to do this another 49 times this year, hopefully. And hopefully you'll watch another 49 times. Let's make it fun. Let's make it interesting to you. Let's make it entertaining, because I'm going to put the same energy into it. I'd like to put energy into it that returns for you. Now, I'm going to chastise you possibly. If you're sitting in your car, home in the driveway, when you could be in the house with those awesome people, and you're listening to me, Bubba, get in that house. You need to spend time with that family. They need you. They love you. They want to hear you. They want to see you. They want to experience you. They do. I'm so thankful and blessed that you chose to spend a little time with me. I'm humbled that I'm able to sit here in my shed talking to my phone, and somebody decides they want to listen. It's a blessing to me. Sometimes it makes no sense to me, but I am so glad. I hope that at the end of every video you feel like I cared, because I do. You feel like you're valuable, because you are. You feel like you make the world a better place, because that's the fact. Some people say if you say I love you too many times, it loses its meaning, and that's a lie. It doesn't. It should be something that's said all the time. Encouragement should be said all the time. I'd rather have somebody tired of hearing me say how good they are than to say one time, I wish he'd say I was good. I wish I'd get encouragement. I've never heard anybody say you encourage too much. I hope you take that to heart. I hope when people say things to you that are positive, that you enjoy them, that you absorb them. And I hope that you look at opportunities to reach out to people who seem like they all got it together. Maybe they need encouragement. Maybe they need something positive. And the people that are having a hard time that you can see, maybe you can reach out to them. We got 8 seconds. So I've made it. 3 hours this year. Pretty dang good. I love you. I hope to see you next time. Later, Tater. Drive safe.